Today we're going to start another project, a single family house, and we're going to try to do something that most likely this is the first thing that you will end up doing well when you are hired to work for another architect or for a summer internship or whatever. People in my generation or architects in my generation, we didn't learn Revit at the school because it didn't exist, and AutoCAD was mainstream. So this was probably the first CAD software that architects used massively. And if you work for a 50-year-old architect, probably you will have to open an AutoCAD file, and then you will have to turn this AutoCAD file into Revit. AutoCAD, as you can see, it has a 3D option, but it's a 2D software. So here we have the basement, first floor, second floor, and this is the section. So the first thing we're going to do is to export this AutoCAD file into Revit, and then we are going to trace all the walls and all the elements to build the 3D model. First, we need the AutoCAD file, and here you see that we don't have any dimensions. So the first thing we need to understand is the size of these elements. If we don't have any dimensions, the first thing we have to check is that if I select linear dimension, the width of a staircase should be at least 3 feet. Okay, so if this is 3 feet, we're good. And based on that, we can, because when we export this into Revit, probably the scale is not the right one. So we need a fixed dimension we can trust, and then we can scale the AutoCAD file in Revit so that the dimensions are accurate. Okay, so let's save this. If we save this, we save this file into the folder. I will upload this file on Canvas, and you can download it. We can open Revit. We can open a new project. And now we have to insert, you see this tool, import CAD. So let's select this. Open. And we are on level 0. Sometimes it's, we import a tiny drawing. You see that it's here. It's very small scale. So probably the first thing we have to do is to scale this. Just unpin this. Okay, it will look better. Okay, what's the first thing we have to do? We have to make sure that this dimension is 3 feet. Okay, how can we do that? If we annotate, align, if we measure this distance, okay, this is 3 feet, apparently. Make sure that the project units, if we click on manage project units, oh no, it's 3. It's well, as you can see, we have here millimeters. Okay, so we have to change this. We have to change this to square feet. Probably you will have this by default. The distance is feet. Okay, the length, we're going to use feet and fractional inches. And the density, well, it's not necessary, but I'm going to change everything. Miles per hour, and volume cubic feet. Okay, so now this is too small. I think it was the original is in millimeters, so that's why this is too small. So I'm going to scale this. Now it's bigger, and now I'm going to use annotate again. Okay, so this is 1 inch. It's still too small, so I'm going to select this, scale again. And now I have to adjust this dimension to 3 feet. I'm going to use a model line. We click here, and I want to make it 3 feet. Okay, so this is 3 feet. And I'm going to scale. I want this width. It has to be 3 feet. I select the drawing. I click scale. And now we have to click on 3 points. The first point, this is the second point, and the third point is the line that it's at 3 feet. Okay, now I can delete the auxiliary lines that I have drawn. And if I go to annotate, aligned, now this is 3 feet. Okay, so this is the first thing we have to do. We have to import the drawing. We have to save a AutoCAD file. Then we have to go to insert, import CAD, and then we have to scale. So that's why we need a measurement that it's fixed and it's our reference. So we have fixed these 3 feet for the staircase, and now the rest of the drawing is at the same scale. Remember that we have to use this option. This is the crop region. You can hide it, or you can show it, or you can crop view. In this case, by default, the view is cropped. If you don't do it, you don't crop the view. I'm going to use this because I want to say I'm going to make this crop region bigger, and I'm not going to hide it. And probably I need more space for the elevation marks. You see that if I push the elevation marks outside the crop region and I crop the view, I don't see this. So if I don't crop it, then I can see it. Okay. Well, what's next? We have to start drawing the plans, tracing the plans. The other thing we need to understand is the levels that we have. By default, we have probably on the east elevation. Well, I don't see. I see these 2 levels. It's on the south elevation. I don't see levels in the east of or the west, but I will fix it later. And you see that we have a level by default 0, and another one, level 1. It's 13 feet and 1.5 inch. So that would be level 0. That's the basement. Then we have the first floor, second floor, and the roof. And we need to understand the distance between these. So I can go to annotate, aligned, And the first level is 9 feet 11 inches. Here we can, I don't know, we have this green line. Probably this is the structural line and this is the floor level. So if I take this measurement, I'm going to the floor, and this is 10. Wait, do it again. Well, we have another floor here. Okay, so let's use the green lines. Don't pay any attention to this pink line. And we're going to use this. And finally, from this level, align up to the roof. Okay, so we have 9 feet and 11 inches, and then we have 9 feet and 9.5 inch, 9 feet, 9.5 inches. Then on this elevation, we're going to do that. If this is the basement, that level 1 was 9 feet and 11 inches. No, and 11 inches. And then if we copy, this is level 1, this is level 2, and this is the roof. This is the roof. There was a distance of 9 feet and 1.5 inches. That no, it's 9 feet and 9.5 inches. So it's 9 feet and 9.5 inches. Wow. Well, as you can see, if I do that, I'm changing that that number. Okay, so when I'm copying, I can copy this and I can type 9 feet and 9.5 inches. There you go. And now the distance between these two levels should be 9 and 9.5. So now I can do the same. I can copy. Now I don't need to type anything because if we have the same distance from level 1 to level 2, let's name it level 2. And this is the roof. Yep. Okay, so now those are the levels, and the basement is from level 0 to level 1. So we have to start with level 0 up to level 1. If some of the levels are not showing up, it's because we don't have the scope box. So I think I showed you how to work with the scope box before. If I didn't, I'll do it right now. You see that in view, we have this option of the scope box. Now I want to include all the drawing within the scope box. If I go to the 3D view, I want to make sure that everything is within the scope box. So make sure that this is the AutoCAD file, you see, make sure that it's within the scope box. And now, if we select the levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, and if we attach those levels to the scope box one, now we see this, and probably in the rest of the Oh, we don't see the levels in the elevations. Okay, I don't mind. Anyway, we have this, we have level 0, and we can start tracing. We are not talking about materials. You know that when we are working with walls, we have different options with materials. I'm going to use just a wall without any materials. So I will select something here. Probably you don't have all these options because those are options that I have created. If you have the default wall, we will use that. But first, I need to see. Well, when we analyze this, you see we have exterior walls and then we have interior walls. So at least there's a difference in thickness between the interior and the exterior walls. Exterior walls, usually we have, I don't know, maybe a foot, and interior walls, we are talking about 3 inches, 3-4 inches. So we can, okay, this is 11 inches and a half. And this is 4 inches. Good. So I'm going to prepare 2 walls. The first one is this, edit type. I duplicate, and this is wall 11 inches and a half. I edit the structure. I'm not interested in the materials. By default, I have this concrete masonry unit. Okay, so let's keep it. But what I want to do is to type here 11.5 inches. I click OK. And now it's 11.5. Okay, I want to make sure that, okay, it's 11.5. And now the next wall, I edit type, I duplicate, and I want a wall with 4 inches. Okay, and I edit this, and this is 4 inches. These 2 walls are enough at this point. And now I can just trace it. This is quite easy because I only have to select the wall, this one. And as I showed you last time, we don't have to be very accurate. We just have to do this, and then we can use the align. There you go. Even if it's tilted, if you align this to a straight line, you align this. Okay, so that's perfect. If we want to close that corner, we do this. If we want to see the drawing, that now it's hidden by this wall, we can always go here, the visual style, and we can select wireframe. And now you see that we can see the drawing, that it's hidden by this wall. So this is the perimeter. Here we have another wall. I see that it's slightly thinner. Well, it's up to you. we can do it again. We can take that measurement. Okay, so this is 7.5. We can create another wall. Edit type, duplicate. This is 7.5. Edit, and now this is 7. And we can do this and this, and now align. And just select, drag it, select and drag. There you go. On the 3D, we have to attach to, well, we don't have, if we had a, a roof or a floor, we could attach it, or we can say that the top constraint is level 1. Okay, so we're almost done with level 1. Well, what's this? These are attached, or yeah, those are attached houses. So there's a road here in the basement for the cars. Those are the parking lots. So we probably need that wall. I'm not going to do it yet, but probably we will need that wall. And those are columns. Okay, so those columns, we have walls and columns. So these yellow squares are columns. And one of the things when we're building an actual house, we have to make sure that all columns are lined up. Okay, so if you select a line here through all these yellow lines are columns, this is the section. So we see that they are all lined up. This is very important. Okay, so now we are tracing an existing drawing from Autocad. But if we didn't, we have to make sure that the columns on the basement, first floor, and the second floor are lined up. And if they are not, there should be a reason. You see that there's a tiny column here, and now we have other columns there. And this is the basement wall. So again, everything is lined up to this wall here. So we can insert columns. You see that here in architecture, we have walls, doors, components, and we do have columns. What kind of columns here? We have architectural and structural. Let's see, in architectural columns, we have by default, I have these columns. It's in millimeters by default, but I think I'm going to use one of them. Okay, it's much bigger than what we need. So I'm going to measure the column. It's 9 inch and 1/2. So I can select this, I can edit type, I can duplicate that column, and that column is 9 1/2 inch. And then the depth and the width, I can say that it's 9.5, 0 feet, and 9.5, and the same dimension here. Okay, and now I align again. There you go. On the 3D view, Okay, so this column, the base level is level 0, the top level is level 1. Sometimes by default, Revit does things weird, and sometimes you have different numbers here. So make sure that it goes from level 0 to level 1, and the base and the top offset are 0. And now we can copy this column, copy, select this point. There's another column here, another column there. Now we can select these 3 columns, copy, here. Okay, so we have the walls and the basement columns. The next step is to build the first floor. Well, a common mistake that we usually make when we are tracing drawings from AutoCAD. In AutoCAD, we have the basement, first floor, second floor. So you start tracing here the basement, and then you start tracing here the first floor, and then the second floor. I don't like that because then we have to move this and we have to copy this here. Now, this is our file. So we have taken this AutoCAD file, but now the Revit file is the one that matters. And we do know that, that all the walls have to be lined up and all the structural elements have to be lined up. Sometimes there are inaccuracies between the basement and the first floor in the AutoCAD file. And if we keep tracing things, yeah, we trace the original file, but what if the original file is wrong? Then we are making the same mistake. So what we have to do now, what we have to understand is that on the first floor, the walls are on the same vertical line and the columns are on the same vertical line. So I'm not going to trace this floor here, or I can trace this floor here using something that we know it's fixed. Okay, so I can do this. I can move this file. I know that this corner is the same, but even you see that there are some inaccuracies here. So I think I'm going to make it up. I'm going to work on this vertical on a different level, taking the measurements there. Okay, so if I click on level 1, that's good because here I can see the AutoCAD drawing and I can see the walls here. Okay, so on level 1, I can trace the walls, but taking into account the lines that we have already done before. Okay, so you see that this wall is the same as this wall, and we have this corner here. We extend this wall up to this point. Okay, so I'm going to use the architecture wall. I'm going to work, oh, sorry, because on level 0, I didn't use wall, the 4-inch wall. So I'm going to do the same. So this is the first wall, one here. And now line things up. Okay, but as you can see, we have made some decisions. We have made the decision that this wall is 4-inch. It's a 4-inch wall. If we zoom in, we understand that it's not a 4-inch wall. We have this, so it doesn't matter. Now it's the Revit file that matters. So don't worry if there is a gap between the original file and that file. It doesn't really matter. Okay, we know that the wall, it has to be a 4-inch wall, and probably this is a mistake from the original file. So our file is better. Let me see. Okay, yeah. Make sure that before moving on, you adjust the heights so that all the basement walls have the same height. Now on level 1, I'm going to continue with the walls there. So I'm going to go to architecture, wall, the exterior wall, it's the 11-inch wall. And I know that I'm going to go this way, and this way. Okay, so I have this corner, and now I know that these two walls have to be lined up, and if this is the final length, this is it. What else? Well, I don't know this distance, the distance between the green line and the green line here. So I'm going to annotate, and the distance between this and this, it has to be 18 feet, 11.5. I can use the model lines, and now this is 18 feet and 11.5. There you go. Okay, so this is it. So I can drag this up to this point. Now, this is the line, so I can keep working with the walls. So I know that this wall has to be lined up with this line here. So click align. I know that this wall has to be lined up with this wall here. And finally, I know that this wall is lined up with the basement wall here. There we go. Now I can do this. What's next? Well, we see that we have this wall, then we have another wall here, but it's not the same as this one. But this apparently is that one, and then we go this way, and probably this corner is the same. Okay, so now I have this corner, this, and this. Now we can align again. We can use the trim option, align, trim. And I want to make sure, okay, so this wall is this one, so I can line this here. But we have another wall there. I want to find out this dimension. It's 3 feet 10 inches or 10.5 inches. So now it's 13 feet and 10. Okay, so there's another wall there, and then we have this tiny wall here, and then we have another wall there. Okay, let's do that. I can build another wall, or I can copy this one. So I select this point and this point. I don't have to line up. But now I can trim this, and now I need this horizontal wall here and line there. So this one continues. I can use this here. Now I can drag this one there and we can trim this too. Okay, there you go. Then I will open a door here, but I'm not working with doors yet. Okay. Now we have to do the internal walls, interior partitions. Well, interior partitions don't have to be aligned or lined up from the basement because the structural element are the thick walls. Those thin walls, they don't have to match. Usually they do. Okay, so this line is the same as this line, especially if we have a staircase. So in this case, this is the line, but the rest we really don't know. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to trace this here, and then I'm going to copy this to that point. Let's do that. I'm going to use the 4-inch wall. And now I'm going to select this and move it. If this is the corner, then I'll move it to this corner. Okay, so these two walls are lined up on the first and the basement, first floor and the basement, but the rest, as you see, they don't match. That's perfectly fine because they are non-structural walls and they don't have to. Okay, so then I have this one. Okay, so there will be another 4-inch wall here. And this 4-inch wall, it's lined up with this one. So I select the line here, drag, and yep. So I think it ends here. Well, actually it goes all the way and then we have door. So let's do it Let's go all the way, and then we will open all doors. And finally, we have these lockers, and we have a, yeah, this is a tiny bathroom with lockers here. We can do the same. We can trace it here and then move it. I'm going to trace everything. And align. And now copy using the same corner as a reference. Here. And now I extend this here. On the 3D view, yep, probably the heights are wrong. And I'm going to delete this one. And I'm going to select this, and the top constraint is level 2 now. One. Now the next step will be level 3. So on level 3, we have basically the same walls. We have an overhang here, and we have a terrace there with some planters that we'll do it later. First, before moving on, I'm going to work with the floor of level 1. The floor of level 1 goes this way, or no, I think this is the level 1 floor is all this. Okay, so I'm going to do it here, and then I'm going to copy it there. Okay, so it's on level 1. I'm going to select floor, and I'm going to select these big lines, and I'm going to select all the pink lines here. So that's the first line, the second. This is the fence. Well, that's interesting because this is a void, so we'll do it later. And I'm going to use this line here. Remember that we have to close this. This and that. Now I finish. This is the floor, and I'm going to copy it from this corner to this corner. Let me look at this 3D to see what I have done. So you see that this is the floor. And now what I can do, I can select everything that is on the basement I can filter. I have walls and columns. So let's select only walls, apply. And now I can attach to the floor that I've just done. Okay. So now you see that the wall doesn't go up to level 1. It goes up to the lower part of the ceiling. And I can do the same with the columns. I can select everything. Then I can filter. I can select only columns, apply. And then I can attach top base to this. And now the columns doesn't work. Attach top base is already attached. Okay. Let's delete this one. Okay, we have walls, and then we have this. There is a void here. So when we have this cross, that means that there's a void. So if we want to work with a void, I can select the floor. I can select the top view. And then I can edit boundary. And now I can draw 2 rectangles. Click OK. And touch. And now on the 3D view, I have void here. Okay, that's interesting. Yep, I know why I can't attach this to this. Okay, so let's do it again. I'm going to select the floor. I'm going to edit boundary. And if I go to level 1, this is not the right, so I have to line up this to this. So let's line up the floor boundary here. And now I can attach this. You see that this is the top level is level 1, but I want to attach this column to that. So I have to attach top base and now do it here. And now the column is shorted. So all these columns are, well, they are not. I'm going to select all the columns and I'm going to attach to this floor. Some of them are already attached, but now all these columns are attached to the floor. Okay, what's next? We have basement, we have the first floor, and then if we want to add doors and windows, it's a piece of cake. Let's open the basement first. By default, we have doors here. So if you add doors, we have different doors here. By default, I have millimeters. Usually when we have this, it's the smallest one, like this one. If we click on the space bar, we can change the orientation of the door. This is the right orientation. And if we want to change the orientation, we can do this. Okay, I don't mind if you want to line them up, you can. If we want to line it up here, or if we want to line it up there, we can always do it. But it's not a big deal. Let's do this. Oh, I didn't. For example, I don't like this. If I have this wall and the door is there, I would extend this wall and I would place a door here. Okay, we're improving the original file, making better decisions. And we need another door there. Probably this door is bigger because this is the entrance to the basement. So I can select the next one. Here. And we do have a window, okay? The only thing is that I don't have information about the windows. This is a window to the basement, so it has to be small. Let's insert windows. What kind of windows I have? I don't like this, so I'm going to insert family US windows, and I want a fixed one. I don't like the default windows that we have in Revit. So I'm going to just, for this one, I'm going to select the fixed one, open. And here we have different options. So I don't know, we can always use this one. There you go. And if it doesn't have the right dimension, we can always align this one here and this one there. And now in the 3D view, we do have the window there. Okay, so this is the way we have to do this. I want you to continue to work on this file. And now on level 1, we have completed all the walls, but now I want you to complete the windows. What kind of windows do we have here? We can see the AutoCAD file. You see that this window, it's quite big. Okay, we can see that in the section. So what's the size of this window? We have the width here. Well, in this, as you can see, we have, well, probably we have a central fixed space, and then we have a door here and another door here, there. Where does it come from? When we have a huge window like that one, having one piece of glass is not an option, because if we need to open something, then the openable part has to be smaller than the fixed one. Basically, having a huge piece of glass, it's very expensive. So in this case, you can see we have 3 parts, 1, 2, and 3. And here we have only 2, the openable one and then the fixed one. So we can always design our own windows. The height of these 2 windows, because this is the first floor, so we can go outside. So it's a window, but it's a door as well. So the height of this window can be Okay, 6 feet, 6 feet, 6 feet and 6 inches. Yeah, or 7 feet. Okay, let's do it with 7 feet. So that will be the height of the window. And then the width, we can decide it. Okay, so we're talking about this window. We can insert something similar, family. Okay, here we have 3 parts. Here we have 2 parts. This one. Hmm. I'm going to select this one, triple side transom. Okay, let's do it. And I'm going to insert, but probably I would need to edit the type. First, I'm going to insert that window here. But then I will okay, this is 3 feet, 3 feet. Good. So this is 3 feet. Line 3 feet. And now can I line up this here? Okay, if I line up this one here, it doesn't work, you see? So what do we have to do? We have to select this window and we have to edit it. First, we need to know this distance. Okay, it's 12 feet, 11 and a half inches. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to edit type. And the width has to be 12 feet and 11 and 1/2. Let's do this, apply, and let's see what happens. Okay, it's getting better. Now we can line up this. Okay, that's much better. And on the 3D, well, this is not exactly what we want because we want this to be the full height. We wanted a 7-foot window. So the height is 7 feet. So I have to select this. I have to edit type. And then the height, I want 7 feet. There you go. And now the seal height has to be 0. Okay, this is it. I'm not happy with this window because this openable part, I think it's not enough. So let's, well, first we need to see that elevation, and then we need to take those measurements. Okay, so we need to take that elevation, which is the north elevation. So let's look at the north elevation. And we have this weird thing. What happens here? Okay, so we have to fix the elevations. You see that the elevation marks are here. So the first thing we have to do is to make, if we have a section, a crop, the section box, the scope box, sorry, we have to move all the elevation marks within the scope box. Okay, so that will work better. Then we need to check, if we click on the black triangle, here we see the scope of this elevation. So this is the south elevation, so we see up to this point. If we are on the east elevation, we see only up to this point, so probably we won't see the model. If we click on the east elevation, we see the levels. Okay, so if we are within the scope box, we see the scope box and the levels, but we don't see the models. What we have to do is to drag this line up to this point, and then on the east elevation, we see the model. And on the north elevation, we see the windows here. So what's the height of the windows? Let me see if we annotate. The height is 4 inches. It's not enough. The minimum height, I told you that it has to be 6 feet and 6 inches minimum, or 7 feet, it's better. So what I did was a 7-foot window, but taking into account this. Okay, so I'm going to edit the type again, and the rough height, I'm going to make it 8. Okay, so now the window is higher, but if I edit type again, there's another value, the transom. The transom is this horizontal part of the frame. The mullion is the vertical, transom is the horizontal, and this is the ratio, and this is 0.3. Okay, so this is 0.3 and this is 1. So I'm going to make this, if I type here 0.1, and I apply. Okay, so you see that I have made this. And what if I didn't have this? Actually, I don't like it. So let's make it 0, see what happens. There you go. Okay, so now I have made a window that I like. It has 3 parts, and we don't have this tiny glass here. I think that looks much better. What have we learned so far? We have imported in insert. We have used this import CAD. Then we have scaled the CAD drawing. Then we have to start, we started tracing the actual walls. We have attached the walls to that floor, and then we have created, well, we inserted doors, and I have edited the type of windows. So this is what you have to do. Now you have to keep moving, and you have to keep inserting doors and windows on the first floor. I think we're done with doors and windows in the basement. I don't mind the kind of windows that you insert. Okay, so if you don't have information about the height of the window, I don't mind. Probably this window is the same as that one, but here we only have 2 parts instead of 3. So probably you will have to load another family with only 2 parts, but that's up to you. And here we have other windows. See that here we have another window. But if we don't have any information, and we don't have any other information about those windows in the section, it's up to you. You can make up the dimensions. Well, you have the horizontal dimension, but when it comes to the vertical dimension, you can make it up. I don't mind. I want you to continue to work on that. And by the end of today, I want you to submit on Canvas the 3D model, because I want to take a look at it. Okay, so you have to insert. We have already done this floor here. We don't have any basement floor, so you have to do the floor to the basement. Then you have to do this slab, which is the floor of the second floor. And finally, you have to work with the roof. It's a flat roof. Okay. So keep working. And by the end of today, submit the completed model. I don't want any furniture. I just want the walls, okay? The walls, windows, and doors. And I don't want the staircase either. I'll explain you how to do the staircase on another video, but I want you to complete the 3D model on your own. And then when you're done with the 3D model, email me and I will record another video.